Hello everyone, we are the team number 2.
And we will present the topic ocean acidification.
Fourth, we're gonna search for solutions to a serious problem in our environment. This is the acidification of the oceans. Because of that, the sea life can be really affected, changing the behavior of some species or his lifestyle, different of the land.
It is important to mention that we have to make a deep investigation about the topic, so we can analyze and create a scenario, a simulation of the problem, and propose some possible solutions. Make an hypothesis and observe how our idea helped to the reduction of this trouble. Our mission is to identify the causes of the acidification and the consequences it has, so we can act in favor of the ecosystem, the biotic and abiotic elements involved in the situation in a local or national area. The human activity is responsible of many problems, and the society has the moral obligation to reduce all that impact, starting from its own life, and then start to act in the community. In this case, the acidification is caused by some gases that fabric produce, but not only them. We, with the use of the car or another source of production of carbon dioxide, mainly cause a damage.
The acidification of the oceans is the result caused by carbon dioxide emissions from activity of the humans. Atmospheric carbon dioxide is absorbed by the oceans, triggering a chemical reaction, and as a result generates a decrease in seawater pH.
As a solution, we want to propose a project that will begin to be tested. It is an escape that converts carbon dioxide into oxygen. 5 young people work on this development that converts carbon dioxide output into an important source of convenience, and not only because it converts gases that produce the greenhouse effect into an oxygen source, but because it represents saving in fuel consumption. On the axis of this green biotechnology product is a kind of cartridge with plant microorganisms that, to try to put it in simple, they feed on the carbon dioxide that passes through the filter and can reverse its harmful effect of the environment. The effect of the reactor in the escape will not be sold to individuals. It will be rented, and the company will also keep the possibility of changing or exchanging the filters that are the ones the microorganisms have. The rent bill will have to do with the performance earned by the car or heavy vehicle. The business model considers the installation of the leaks plus the extensions of the filters with the microorganisms inside. The project is about to be launched on the market and is only waiting for one more constant laboratory test that the bioreactor effectively avoids the emission of CO2 into the environment, and that what goes through the escape becomes in oxygen thanks to the action of microorganisms. This project will help to reduce air pollution in the air in the long term.
Okay. The increase in the acidity of the oceans is caused by the emissions of dioxide carbon, and this is caused by human activities. And some notable effects will be the bleaching of coral and will be the fragility in some shells of the animals.
Since the Industrial Revolution, the acidity of the oceans has increased by about 30%, and it's expected that if these trends continue, by 2050, it will have increased at 150%. The most notable and noted effect, like I said before, is coral bleaching. The bleaching of the coral is a process that the coral undergoes when under stress, and that can end its death from maintaining the circumstances that cause it. Acidification can cause a reduction in plankton that is known to affect species that depend on it for food. Affected organisms may suffer deformities in their shells or have to live with more fragile shells that make them more vulnerable to attacks by their predators. I think the acidification of the oceans is something we need to reduce. That's why it's important to apply strategies to reduce pollutant gases that cause the pH to go down, becoming acidic. As mentioned earlier, if we continue causing damages to our environment, acidity could increase 3 times what it already is. That's why we should apply solutions.
Hypothesis is what will happen if the pH of the ocean continues to decrease. And as alternative solution of the conventional ones, we want to implement the use of filters that transform the carbon dioxide to oxygen.
In our report, we're gonna search for solutions to a serious problem in our environment. This is the acidification of the oceans. Because of that, the sea life can be really affected. And
Hypothesis. What will happen if the pH of the oceans continues to decrease? It's necessary to know that the surface of the ocean has a basic range of pH that goes from 8.0 to 8.3. Marine organisms have evolved in marine environment with that pH, and for that reason are particularly adapted to that environment. As with the other gases in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide remains mostly in equilibrium with respect to the surface of the oceans, which means that a harmony is maintained between the amount of carbon dioxide in the oceans and that which is found in the atmosphere. The positive part of this is that the atmosphere has a 13% less carbon dioxide than it would have if it were not. And this somewhat mitigates the pace and impact of climate change. But there is a negative part. Upon contact with water, carbon dioxide reacts immediately with it and carbonic acid is formed. While this is considered a weak acid, it results in a greater acidity in the marine environment. The average pH at the surface of the oceans has dropped around 0.1 unit. So, what will happen if the pH of the oceans continues to decrease? First, a considerable part of the plant and animal life of the oceans, from phytoplankton to coral reef and variety of shellfish, form their shells by fixing calcium and carbonate from seawater to form calcium carbonate. As the pH of the seawater decreases, carbonate ability drastically decreases. These organisms are the base of the trophic chain of the ocean, and if the pH of the ocean decreases, these species could disappear, causing the extinction or dissolution of many species. Second, the acidification of the ocean can weaken a series of metabolic processes of different organisms, from food to respiration and even reproduction. With an increase in marine pH, ocean ecosystem will be less productive while having less diversity and resilience.
As we could see in the development of the dam, the ocean has been damaged by humans during the last year, so it is well and of begin a resource that cannot be used due to constant increase in the acid in the sea. So it is important to adapt to a being sustainable in terms of a lifestyle in which we use these types of resources such as water to survive with all the services it gives use. However, if we alone put into stress, people in their day-to-day continue to damage this resource and will be unlikely to use its following a path towards its destruction. Finally, we can mention how the different compounds that damage the sea are substances which are used as cleaners or energy source. So using organic or sustainable energy source will be able to dispose of a large number of products that acidify the ocean.